A new era in American space exploration got officially underway. The Artemis I SLS rocket launched from Kennedy Space Center early this morning. Its next stop, the moon. Now, if this mission is successful, it will set the stage for Americans to return to the lunar surface in just a few years. Dan Grigsby tells us more about the big day. Dan.
That's right, Crystal. The most powerful rocket ever launched by NASA lit up the entire night sky up and down the East Coast. Take a look.
3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis I. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
It also rattled for miles. People could feel for miles as the rocket lifted off the night sky. NASA has been eager to launch this rocket for months now, but it has been delayed by both technical problems as well as not one, but two hurricanes that hit this area over the last several weeks. But NASA has made history today by launching its most powerful rocket ever produced. Artemis is set to go on a 26-day journey orbiting the moon before returning to Earth. The Orion crew capsule is unmanned at this time. It will orbit the moon for a couple of weeks before returning to Earth. At one point, it will be about 300,000 miles from the Earth, and that will be the furthest into deep space that a spacecraft intended for humans has ever traveled before. NASA officials are trying to use this as a test run, and the entire point of Artemis is to be used as a test flight for eventually returning humans to the moon and eventually to Mars.
Now we're going back to the moon, not just for the sake of going to the moon, but to learn, to live, to develop, to learn how to live on the moon in order to prepare to send humans all the way to Mars.
Starts to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere in December, they will be looking at the heat shield to make sure it can withstand about 5,000 degrees of re-entry. It will splash down in the Pacific Ocean and then be reused. If everything goes as planned, we could have humans back on the moon by 2025. Crystal?